Mic check 1 2 1 2. 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 Hey YouTube, how are you this evening? How y'all doing today? As you see in the title, it's called Mental Health First Aid. It's time for a check-in. We need to check in, y'all. We need to check in. We got a lot of things going on out here in these YouTube streets, and I just think we need to check in and do some little bit of mental health check-in and make sure that everybody's doing okay. I don't know if anybody else told you, but I'm going to tell you, I worry about your mental well-being if nobody else does. And I'm here to do whatever we need to do to make sure that we're all okay. Yeah. I'm here to do whatever it is we need to do to make sure that we're all okay. I worry about people. It's part of my makeup. It's part of my everyday feminine nature to be a type of person that check in and worry about people and a nurturer. Although I've never had any children of my own, I still have a nurturing spirit and a mothering spirit. And I worry about the rampant mental health issues that's going on, especially over here in the beef sector. I look at them and I look at the people that's out here and the things that they're going through and how they're coping, and not everybody is coping like they should. Y'all, I know, look, I'll be the first one to tell you, I don't always cope well. But it is what it is, you know? And I'm here to just check in with the folks and see how you guys are doing. And I want to give out some tips to help the everyday person that's dealing with stress and things of that nature and negative energy, and they feel like they just can't go on. And I have some practical information to give out. So the first thing I want to say is, I don't know how many of you guys know that I am actually a mental health first aider. Go figure. I actually have the training. I've actually been through the training. I've actually done the work. So I actually am a mental health first aider. All of this came about because I actually stepped up on somebody's channel last night. And she had someone that was, going through some things. And, I just kind of stepped in and I told her, we need to do some breathing exercises to, try and calm the situation down. And people were like, hey, Grogu, how are you today? And what happened is, what I was saying is, I'm a mental health first aider. And we had a situation last night where, another fellow content creator, she was going through some stress and things of that nature. And she just needed somebody to talk to her and try and calm down the situation. And that's where I'm at, you guys. Sometimes we just need somebody to talk to us and just calm down the situation. Because there are a lot of situations that go on that cooler heads just need to prevail. And tonight, and you're right, character is a main thing. Beauty is okay, but this is my thing. Beauty is fleeting. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So what you might feel is beautiful, somebody else might not feel is beautiful. So that's the thing. And the thing is, people aren't guaranteed to keep their looks. Because think about it. Suppose you have a situation where you're in an accident and your face is messed up. Then what happened to the looks? You know what I'm saying? So that's the type of thing people have to think about when it comes to looks, because everybody's not guaranteed to keep their looks. But tonight I wanted to talk about mental health, and I wanted to talk about some things that we need to do to be aware of what's going on. I wanted to talk about some different types of mental health and some ways you can identify some people that are going through mental health crisis. And you guys, this is helpful for your family members, friends, people you know, people you don't know. You're right. You are how you feel about yourself. Hey, Ron P., how are you, my darling? So, as you know, you see it here on YouTube all the time. People going through things, people having issues, people breaking down, people feeling alone, people feeling lonely. And I'm going to tell you guys, okay, first off, being alone and being lonely are two different things. And Philly Chick, it's good that you don't look for anybody's validation, but everybody doesn't feel good about themselves. You understand what I'm saying? And some of it is mental illness. Some types of mental illness are trauma, post-traumatic stress disorder, schizophrenia, depression, bipolar. Those are all different types of mental illnesses. And we see them display here from time to time. We see them display here from time to time. I'm going to tell you guys, again, I am a mental health first aider, which means that I've had people that have come to me. They come straight to me. And I went through the training through my church. My pastor felt like, oh, she'll be a great person as a mental health first aider. I'm like, I don't know why you do that. But anyway. So one of the things I want to talk about, first thing I want to talk about is, how do you know you're having a mental health issue? How do you know you're having a mental health issue? And what are some of the things that we do? All right, so I just want to, and I got my notes, you guys. The reason I have my notes is because I want to make sure I hit on all the topics. How do you know if you're having a mental health problems? A lot of times it's hard to tell if you're having a mental health problem because the brain and the body, they do affect one another. Mental health issues, you usually don't see them, but they will manifest themselves in different ways. Mental health issues will manifest themselves from emotional to mental to physical. And a lot of people don't think that mental health issues affect the physical, but they do. Because mental health issues, they affect the physical in different ways because your mind is telling you, look, this is how you start to think it, so you start to feel it. And I'm going to tell you a couple of things. All right. Mental problems can cause physical problems along with changes in thinking, feeling, and in behavior. Here are some mental health problems and some signs to figure out if you're having some mental health issues. Besides the change in the way you're thinking and your mood and the way you act, some other ways that you can figure out about mental health issues are, and they include, but they're not exclusive to this, but they include changes. Hey, Vibrant Love, how are you, sweetheart? Changes in the way you sleep, changes in your appetite, changes in your appetite, changes in the way you sleep. All of these show are signs of you might be having some issues with your mental health. Changes in your weight loss, weight gain can be signs and symptoms of mental issues, some mental problems going on. You guys, change in your sex life, believe it or not, changes in your sex life might indicate that you're having some issues with your mental health. I'm going to tell you guys how my mental health, when I started manifesting physical signals when I started having issues, headaches. When you're having constant headaches, it might not necessarily be migraines. It might not necessarily be a headache. It could be tension coming on. And because of the tension coming on, the tension is causing you stress. So that could be one thing. Physical pain, other physical pains. When you see, I'm going to tell you guys, when you see children that are having stomach aches and you're like, but what's going on? Why is my child having all of these stomach aches? If you see a person that's having constant stomach aches and headaches, that could be a sign that they have some things going on mentally and they might need somebody. Muscle tensions and tension in your muscle or muscle weakness, that could be a sign that you're having some mental health issues. I know when I'm feeling tension right here, and you're right, the stress will destroy your physical appetite and it'll do it slowly. I'm going to tell you something else. Decreased energy, when you have decreased energy, decreased motivation, decreased interest. When they tell you and you see people who are having, they used to be like their love and their passion, then all of a sudden they're losing interest in it. It's time for you to become concerned about that person's mental well-being. Another thing is people that have problems with attention or problems concentrating or problems with their memory, those things are a sign that they might have some mental things going on. Because this is the thing. If you're having problems concentrating and keeping your attention or your memory, like you might be talking to your spouse or your significant other or your child, and it look like they're floating. That's because their mind is wandering and worrying about other things. So those are some things that you guys need to be concerned about. Other problems. If you see somebody who's irritable, they have anger issues, or they're short-tempered, or their mood is changing on the fly, or if you're experiencing any of these issues, you might need to have a mental health check-in. Another sign, people feeling guilty, people that feel worthless, people that feel like they have no help or no hope. You need to check on your strong friends. Um, Other unhealthy behaviors that you see people that might be going through that might need to talk to somebody when they're having people that misuse drugs, alcohol, food, sex, gambling, spending too much money to cope with stress and emotions. These are all coping mechanisms or what people think are coping mechanisms. So these are things that you might need to check in with your friends. You're right. Loss of interest in favorite pastimes. And the last one is problems functioning at home, work, or school. When you see your child that was a good student and then all of a sudden their grades are dropping, you need to check in with them. If you see that your husband seems, or your wife, or your spouse, or your significant other seems a little distracted or despondent, check in with them because you don't know what's going on. It could be anything that's going on. I want you guys to all be healthy. I want us all to be healthy. I tell people it's no problem with going to lay on the couch. I tell people, but there's some things that you can do to help your own situation. I tell the story all the time that I use self-talk. Well, it's a lot of narcissism that's running rampant these days. People don't get the attention from did I miss the from another? Okay. And you're right. Some people are looking for attention. Some people are looking for attention and they don't know how to get it. But you know, some people that are looking for attention are crying out for help. I had a cousin that had mental health issues, and what she would do when it was time for her to get help, she would call and cuss my mother out. When she would call and cuss my mother out, I would go and talk to her brother. Thank you, sunlight. Thank you, darling. When she would call and curse my mother out, I would go and I would talk to her brother, and her brother would go and have her admitted because her medications were off. So those are just some of the things that you have to look out for. That was her way of manifesting. That was her way of manifesting that she was in crisis. And people manifest in different ways. I see people that seem like they're in crisis here and they're manifesting in drinking. I mean, drinking to the point of, I don't know what to do. They're asking for help. You have some people that actually come on here and ask for help. Other people become angry and lash out at others. Some people, they just, they cry. But we got to be mindful that there are people things. And you hear a lot of people in certain chats, they're like, you're triggering me. I'm triggered. And I say to those people, if you're in a chat and you're feeling triggered, you're right. Some are self-induced. You're right. Some of the crises on here is self-induced because I see people in the chat and they're saying, oh my God, I'm being triggered. Well, if you're being triggered, I think you need to shut that down and go seek out help immediately. Immediately. I see a lot of sufferers and a lot of people who have post-traumatic stress disorder. You guys, I'm going to tell you what post-traumatic stress disorder is. And I'm going to read the legal definition of it because I don't want y'all to be like, ooh, Vivian just made up something. Nope. I don't want y'all to say that. All right, so what is post-traumatic stress disorder? And I heard somebody tell somebody else, "Oh, you're suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder." I was like, "Yeah, it sounds like it, but you can't just say post-traumatic stress disorder is a mental health problem that some people develop after experiencing or witnessing a life-threatening event. Some of the life-threatening events can be combat. A lot of veterans have post-traumatic stress disorder when they come back from the military. But also, a life-threatening event can be anything to you that made you think that you were going to lose your life. Natural disasters, floods. There's a whole lot of people suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder that went through Hurricane Katrina. That's a natural cause. A lot of people that witnessed 9/11, post-traumatic stress, people that have been in home invasions, assaults, sexual assaults. You say the new Marvel Eternals movie kind of deals with PTSD topic. Car accidents, people that have been in car accidents, they suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder. And you're right, watching the news, too much of the news can give you post-traumatic stress disorder. I don't look at the news. I do not look at the nightly news because the nightly news is a trigger for my post-traumatic stress disorder, you guys. It's normal to have upsetting feelings. You know, it's normal to have memories. But and you can get post-traumatic stress disorder from anything. I mean, it's different things that you can get post-traumatic stress disorder. Ron, I'm going to have to check that movie out. Marvel Eternals. I'm going to have to check that movie out. Okay, see, Sunlight Sprite said giving birth to her daughter was very traumatic. So, I'm going to tell you, it's normal to feel on edge. It's normal to have trouble sleeping after certain types of events. Hey, Corrine, how are you, darling? But most people start to feel better after a few weeks or even a few months. But if it's been longer than a few months and you're still having symptoms like sleeping and eating and you're feeling on edge and you don't want to go into certain situations, it's time to seek out some help. Or if you see some family members or friends that are dealing with this, it might be time for you to do an intervention. Now, what can cause PTSD? Like I already told y'all, combat, see what I mean? An Air Force sergeant killed himself on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial on Veterans Day. See, Vibrant Love, that would have sent me into a tailspin. It would have sent me into a tailspin. So again, I already told you what can be some causes. Combat experience, sexual or physical assault, learning about the violent or accidental death or injury of a loved one, child sexual or physical abuse, serious accidents like a car wreck, natural disasters like a fire, tornado, floods, hurricanes, and earthquakes. All of that can cause PTSD, and terrorist attacks. Now, vibrant low, like I told you, that's one of the reasons I don't look at the news. Now, you got to think about it. They ran that news story. Now, all the people that had to deal with that, guess what? They have to relive that event over and over again. And it's a sad situation. But I want to tell you guys, if you're dealing with some kind of mental health issue, you're not by yourself. There's plenty of people around here. Everybody just don't admit it. I'm going to tell you, there are 4 major symptoms of PTSD. They might not be exactly the same, and they're not the same for each person. And each person is going to experience these symptoms in their own way. All right, so one symptom is reliving the event. One of my things is I relive my event through sleep. A lot of times you guys see me on YouTube and it's at night. It's at night and I'm up at night because I don't like to sleep at night because I have night terrors. Hey JLC, how are you, sweetie? I have night terrors. Night terrors are when you can have night terrors at night or during the day. But I have sleep terrors where I will relive my event when I'm stressed and I'm feeling tension and things of that nature. I will relive my event to the point of I can't sleep and I won't sleep for nights at night. I don't like sleeping at night because I'm on guard and I'm making sure that everything is safe around me. And there's a lot of people that do that, but people don't want to admit it. A lot of people don't want to admit it, or they see things that are going on with them and they just don't want to talk about it. When you see people that start avoiding events, avoiding things that remind them of the event, you might want to check in with that person. So, for instance, if you notice there are a lot of veterans that don't like 4th of July, they don't like fireworks, because fireworks and gunfire reminds them of being in combat, which triggers their post-traumatic stress disorder. I don't like being around a lot of crowded places. I mean, I will go into crowds, but it has to be on my terms. And when I am in a crowd, you got to give me my space. If that's, you have to give me my space. I like to keep at least an arm's distance between me and a person. So I try not to get in anybody else's space, but I ask them to give me my space. People that are dealing with post-traumatic stress, they have more negative thoughts and feelings than they did before, especially about that situation. Some people become sad after a trauma. Some people become numb. You're right, there is no cure for post-traumatic stress disorder, but along with medication and along with therapy, it can help. The other thing is the last one is number 4 is people that feel on edge. It's hard for them to relax. I'm going to tell you guys, my cousin and I, we went out for a Veterans Day and we sat down in a place. We sat down in Starbucks. We were waiting on coffee. And she sat with her back to the wall. She sat at the door, but she sat with her back to the wall where she could react and get out the door if she needed to. And I sat facing the door. Most people that go out with me, they know that I am not going to sit with my back to a door, and I'm not going to sit within a window shot. If I'm near a window, I'm near a window, but it's like I can look out in my peripheral vision. You practice hypnotherapy? Oh, you got a certification in it. Okay, okay. What I do, all right, so some of the things you can experience with post-traumatic stress disorder: panic attacks, anxiety, negative feelings and things of that nature, sleep disorders. And I'm going to tell you guys, because I taught special needs children, and I had to be able to talk them down off the ledge sometimes. I had to cognitive behavior therapy. I had to be able to show them how to do their self-talk. I had to be able to show them how to self-soothe. I had to teach them that. Well, when I started when my post-traumatic stress disorder started manifesting, it started manifesting to the point of, it was like, ooh, I can't cope. I had to realize and remember, I had to remember the stuff that I taught the kids. I had to learn how to self-monitor. That's what helps a lot of people. They need to learn how to self-monitor. You got to be able to record your ups, record your downs, record what's going on with you. And you have to share that with your physician. Okay, Sunlight Sprite says, I write my own medications and record them. Oh, my own meditations and record them and listen to them when my PTSD is bothering me. See, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. A lot of people, they don't know how to stress and cope. They don't know how to cope with the stress of things going on. They don't. Okay, so the first thing I tell you people to do is, all right, so for me, I'm also, along with my post-traumatic stress disorder, I have what they call bipolar depression. Bipolar depression means I have more down days than I have up days. A lot of people say, oh, you're so calming, and everything's so cool, but I suffer from serious bipolar depression. And with my depression, what it is, like I said, I have more down days than I have up days. Now, some of the ways I cope with this and I deal with it is, I first had to realize that I had the issue. I had to admit to myself that I had the issue. Hey, I'm listening. How are you, darling? And that's a lot of people's problem. They won't admit that they have a problem. To get help for the problem, you got to first admit that you have a problem. So my problem was, and my issue was, I had to deal with the fact that, and I had to say it, and I had to verbalize, and I had to say it out loud. Vivian, you got some issues going on, because nobody sleeps this much. Y'all, I was sleeping a lot. My mood was changing. Like, I was like, Viv, nobody has mood swings like this. This is not a good thing. You need to tell your doctor what's going on. Nobody is this angry and has a fuse this short. You got to talk to your doctor about it. And I did. When I talked to my doctor about it, and they got me in therapy. And you're right, Ron. It does take humility to do that. And you have to admit that you have the issue. A lot of people, they're scared to admit that they have an issue. They're scared to say, look, I need help, because everybody wants to be in control. When you admit that there's a problem, Now you're saying that I don't have control over it, but I beg to differ. When you say you have an issue, you're taking control and you're taking your power back, because you're able now to say, look, this is what's going on and I need to help. So I feel that you're taking your power back. And you're right. It does take humility to do that, but it is what it is. That's the first step in getting help. Once you've admitted to yourself that there's a problem, now you need to start monitoring your situation. You got to monitor. I say write it down. When you're having these dreams, keep you a pad next and a pen next to your bed. Write them down when you wake up. Journaling is a good thing. Write down your feelings. Write down what you're feeling at certain times. When you're feeling stressed and anxious, write it down. Write down, what were you doing? What made you feel stressed? What made you feel anxious? And then monitor how long you were feeling stressed, how long you were anxious. What made you, where'd you get, when you went through this issue, what happened? For instance, when I have an anxiety attack, like Wednesday, I had an anxiety attack. I had an anxiety attack and I was like, oh my God, what the world is going on? Y'all, I was just like, I was so nervous. I felt so nervous. I felt my body feeling like, oh my God, it's shaking. My whole body was shaking to the point of, I thought I wasn't going to be able to stop shaking. I started texting a friend. And I texted my friend, I said, hey friend, hey. Then I went, what you up to? You woke? Then I text, I'm going to be okay. Then I text, I can't stop shaking. Then I told her, I said, I know it's a panic attack coming on, but I'm going to be okay. Now, I knew she would get the information eventually. And I knew she'd call me back when she could. But I knew she was probably at work. That's what I was thinking. I said, I think she might be at work. So, because she at work, I don't want to bother her. But I need to talk myself down off this ledge. So what I did is, by me texting her, that was the beginning of my journaling. Well, she called me right back and she was like, well, what's going on? Why are you feeling like this? And I was able to write down what I was feeling, why I was feeling this way, and what was manifesting itself. And why I was, so that's part of journaling. But guess what? That also gives me a record of when I talk to my therapist. I can say, look, on this day I had a panic attack, and these are the things that led to it. And how can I change the situation? I would change it by doing this, 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 and this. But I've identified the problem. I have worked through the problem, and now I can make changes so I don't have the problem again. And a lot of times, a lot of people don't realize with the mental health, we got to be able to breathe our way through it. My other thing is sunlight. You said you do your own meditations. What's the most important part of meditating? Concentrating on your what? Breathing. Because a lot of panic attacks and anxiety and things of that nature, the way it messes with your physical the most is your breathing. Have you guys ever seen, what is the first thing that the first responders tell you when they show up on an accident? Breathe. Slow your breathing down. Get your breathing under control. Because if you can control your breath and your breathing, it calms you and it centers you. And if you guys know, I always say just keep breathing. But besides just keep breathing, you got to be able to know how to breathe. You got to be able to control your breath. You got to take slow breaths in through your nose, blow them out through your mouth. That helps. It really does. If you ever find yourself in a situation where you're feeling panicked, I'm telling you, stop, take you a couple of slow, deep breaths. It will help center you. And that's what a lot of this has to do with. You got to center yourself. By taking those deep breaths, you're getting more oxygen to your brain. Your brain is able to function and think. Have you ever heard the term cooler heads prevail? Calmer heads prevail. It helps you to calm yourself. Your breathing helps to calm yourself. When you get your breath under control, your breathing under control, it calms your heartbeat. And I'm not telling you that you don't want to be able to respond, but you're able to respond better. Okay, so Sunlight Sprite says, if you do fire breathing, rapid breathing method, it can immediately stop an anxiety attack. That's just another breathing technique. And she said it also helps to ground you. Sunlight, that's the rapid breathing, fire breathing, is that one? Like they do during childbirth? If you guys notice, when you go to Lamaze classes, they teach you different breathing techniques. It helps the women breathe through the pain of childbirth. That's it, okay. It helps you breathe through the pain of childbirth. So you guys, of it is about control. And I keep telling y'all, that's why I know y'all always be laughing at me when I say, just keep breathing. Because if you keep breathing, you're around to fight another day. If you keep breathing, things will get better. If you keep breathing, things will eventually calm down. Y'all, I'm going to tell you, I know it's easier said than done with me saying just keep breathing and you'll get through this, and because I know it is something, it's something you have to definitely practice. I'm going to tell you guys, seriously, you have to practice it. You have to practice the self-talk. Self-talk is nothing more than meditation. It's nothing more than meditation. For instance, when I'm in the middle of and I know anxiety is coming on, and I know I'm having a panic attack, it's like, you're gonna be okay. Just breathe, calm down, just breathe. You're gonna get through this. You're going to be all right. This is not going to kill you. Because, y'all, for people that have panic attacks and anxiety, you know, it can be debilitating. It can make you feel like you are about to die and drop dead right there on the spot. but you can breathe your way through it, and you can talk your way through it. And I'm gonna tell you, I do it all the time. It's like, Viv, you're gonna be all right. We're gonna get through this. You're not gonna die. Just keep breathing. You're gonna be fine. Calm down. You know, you just got to figure out what's good for you and what works for you. I would implore you, please look for you some things to do, some ways to help. For those of you who don't know how to do meditation and don't understand meditation, there are apps that you can get and download from the Google Play Store. One of the ones I use is called Let's Meditate. Let's Meditate. And I'm here to tell y'all, I promise y'all, Let's Meditate is a good one. It really is. Okay, since Sunlight Sprite, you're right. You're right. Sometimes you will have them and don't realize it. With me, because I live alone, I had to become more self-aware of what was going on, and I had to become very, very self-aware of my feelings. Sometimes other people in your life are the ones who are the first to recognize that there's some issues going on. And Sunlight Sprite is right when she said her husband helps me to recognize when I am having anxiety attacks. Sometimes I have them and don't realize it. Sometimes we will have them and we won't realize that we're having them. What I do, like I said, with me being alone, I have to be very, very self-aware of what's going on. Y'all, I have to be aware when I'm with my mom. I have to be very, very aware with my mom because my mom will cause me to have a panic attack when she starts, like for instance, when she goes to the doctor and she's not having a good day and she starts acting out. I have to realize, okay, Viv, step outside in the hallway and get yourself together, then go back in and deal with this situation. Because if I don't get my mental health together at that time, it could be a bad situation for my mom. If you understand. So, and you're right, Sunlight's right. Mental health talk is very important. It's very important to check in, but not everybody want to check in because some people like living in their mental illness. A lot of people say, oh, misery loves company. People are doing the different things. Well, that's because they don't know how to check in. They don't want to admit there's a problem. Hi, cousin. How are you doing, sweetheart? I love you. And I'm thinking about you. Okay. Sometimes anxiety can appear as an attitude. You're right. And you know what, Sunlight? A lot of people don't realize that they get triggered by people and they don't even realize that they're being triggered by them people. I'm going to tell you when I get triggered. When I go into a store, I'm going to tell you somebody who triggers me. My brother triggers me. And he don't even realize he's triggering me. When my brother comes into the room sometimes, it's like, why are you here? When he come in the room, because my brother has this thing where he'll come in, Hey, Candy Cane, how are you, sweetheart? And I mean, just certain people's facial attitudes and energies will trigger me. I'm gonna tell you a good trigger. Have you guys ever been in a store and the cashier is nutting up? You go in and you're feeling all good, and then the cashier, how can I help you? What? Ugh. Or the person behind you in line. I'm gonna tell y'all. Okay, so I got post-traumatic stress, and I don't like people being up in my space anyway. I get triggered when I'm in line at the store and I'm putting my stuff up on the conveyor belt on the counter, and the person behind you come right up on your heels and they start throwing their stuff up on top of you. That triggers me. And it's like, excuse me, you're invading my space. That's a trigger for me. And my attitude will change like that. But I have to realize, Viv, you can't be calm down and just talk to him. Look, excuse me, sir, ma'am. Could you please back up? You're in my space. Some people accept it. Other people might come out of the bag on you. One of the other things I had to learn is, and you guys will hear me say this quite often, I can't control how people react to me or how people act towards me. I can just control my actions. I can control my actions. And a lot of times people don't, it now, I'm saying that a lot of people be like, but if you're mentally, you got a mental illness, you can't control it. With cognitive behavior and therapy, you can control it. The issue is, do you want to control it? Sometimes I'm going to tell you, sometimes it feel like you can be out of control and it's nothing you can do. Sometimes you might need some help controlling it, but it can be controlled. It can be controlled. Again, it's all about mindset. You gotta control, you don't have to retrain the brain. How about that? We have to retrain the brain. Now, everybody don't have post-traumatic stress just because they go through a traumatic experience. It usually lasts months, if you understand. It's something that lasts months. These feelings last over months. And I'm going to tell you guys, don't be afraid to go talk to somebody. Don't be afraid to reach out and ask for help. Now, when I said I'm a mental health first aider, that means like I'm like the EMS. Only thing I do is I try to patch you up for the moment, and that's what I do. I patch folks up for the moment, and then I direct them to where they can get more extensive and exclusive help. You know, but the person has to be ready for it. That's just like a drug addict that ODs, and I give them the Narcan and they wake up. They got to be ready to go into treatment and therapy to get the help. How many people are truly ready to get help? How many people are truly ready to get the help that they need? How many people are truly ready to admit that there is an issue? How many people are truly ready to turn off the situation when they're in these YouTube chats and they're hearing situations that is causing them more anxiety and more stress than they're really ready to deal with. How many of us are ready to really separate, compartmentalize, and deal with it? How many of us are really, really ready to reclaim our peace? Peace. Tell me, how many of us? How many? How many? Please tell me, how many of us are really ready to reclaim that? Or will you just continue to sit in a room as the person decides to talk about harming people's children? Will we just participate as we see people that decide that they're going to be mean to each other? Are we going to continue to sit there during the breakdown and the breakups and the angry outbursts? I implore you, I beg of you, if you feel yourself being triggered, if you feel yourself having issues where you can't deal anymore, I beg of you, back up, turn the computer off, listen to some calming jazz. And the reason I say calming jazz is because music can be a trigger for mental health too. Music is a mind altering drug. Don't believe me? Go to a club and notice what songs are on when most fights break out. And the reason I know that is because I take pictures in the club, and every time certain songs come on, they tearing the club up. And I like what Sunlight Sprite says, peace and tranquility, I am here for both of them. You guys, I ask you guys to find something that takes your mind off the crazy. Find something that takes your mind off the hectic. Sometimes you need to relax. Sometimes you just need to sit back and free your mind. You need to sit back and clear your thoughts. You're right, music does influence our subconscious. Y'all, when I'm feeling down, if I'm feeling depression coming on, first thing is I don't allow myself to stay in the bed more than 2 days. I give myself permission to say, okay, Viv, you can lay down for a day or two and just get yourself together. After that, you got to get up out the bed. The other thing is, I don't listen to music, that depressive type music. Oh, I lost my baby. The guy cheated on me. The girl cheated on me. She was my best friend and she took my husband. I don't listen to all of that. Biannual beat music by Kelly Howe is excellent for relaxation. I like jazz. I like listening to jazz without any music, without any words, because the words sometimes is more depressing than the actual beat of the music. Because now you're concentrating on the words and you're singing the words, and to me, words are chants, and manifestation of our words can sometimes manifest our destiny. You know, there's life and death in the power of the tongue. I love jazz. I love jazz. I love saxophones. I'm gonna tell you guys, one of my, and if I had to listen to jazz with words, Michael Franks. I like him. I like him. He was so cool. I would just say, you guys are better than a lot of the foolishness that goes on. You guys are worth your weight in gold. Life does get better. Mental illness, although there is mental illness, you don't have to stay there. You will be all right. I don't want you to be afraid. I want you to go out, continue to live your life, and be the best people that you can be. Y'all see my sleeper I have on? I have on my sleepers. If you see it, it says snooze and dream, nap, relax, sleep. That's what I want for each and every one of you, to have a peaceful and relaxing life. Are we going to relax all the time, and is it always going to be relaxing? Nope. But it don't always have to be so chaotic. That's what I want you guys to remember. Life does not always have to be chaos. You too can make it. All you have to do is continue to breathe. And with that, I'm going to say, as my mom always says, I need you guys to live, love, and laugh. And my dad always says, Lord, make us a blessing so we can be a blessing. And I truly and hope that I was a blessing to each and every one of you. I would just like to go back and thank those folks that were in the clouds. I like to thank the people that will see the replay. I like to thank those folks that were here with us today. Sunlight Sprite, Ron P, Candy Cane, Mr. Swag, cousin. Vibrant Lowell, JLC, I'm listening. Let's see, and Sunlight Sprite, thank you so much for the financial support, sweetheart. I like to thank that Philly chick for coming in and participate. And Miss Grogel, I like to thank you for coming in and participating. I'd like to thank each and every one of you guys for coming in and participating. Because guess what? Without you guys, I'm nothing. Well, I am something, but my YouTube channel, But I'm going to be here for you guys. And if anybody got any issues, questions, concerns, you always can email me, yespicturelady@gmail.com. I'm one of the YouTubers. I'll put my email out there. I just say, you guys continue to live your life, be good to each other, and breathe.